didn't talk about. St. John's been lucky. We've had good service. We've had, I don't know if we've had fiber. I think we have fiber. And it's just within the city limits at this point. It's going out to the county. But we have high-speed internet available, kind of an island within St. Genevieve County. Mm-hmm. So you've got Jefferson County and then Perry County. I'm not sure what Perry County is doing, or Perryville.
Perryville's got, we just got an email from, we've got Spectrum at the office, and they you guys were talking about them upping your speed, they just upped ours to something, I don't remember what it was. More than it had been, and I guess the price is staying the same. So the city has Spectrum and AT&T. I don't know what the speeds look like out in the county though.
Yeah. But that's one of the things we're working on now. So for the city though, we can talk about fiber infrastructure, but it really isn't as, we're not missing anything at this point. I don't know what the future holds though, and what we would need to think about for fiber infrastructure.
Are you fiber
Mr.
connected? Well, there's a whole long thing I won't go into about that. Are you fiber connected here to this building?
Yes, yes. We have 25 up, 25 down, so you got synchronous in the back. So for us at this point, that's what we have.
Because everybody's on fiber backbone. That's what you're going to hear. Well, you're on fiber. Well,
the TV station is hooked up. That's how they feed their signal. I mean, it's a 4-line cable that comes in. We use 2, they use 1. We have 1 spare for whatever, but we need 2 for up and down. But we've got fiber for our system. Yeah.
We, as a company, we committed to fiber to 1 million homes this year. And then impacted by supply chain and labor shortage and whatnot.
It's a comprehensive plan for it.
We won't make a million. But it's
everybody
a
that's going to be
cost
here.
for anybody to build.
We're here for 2 hours. You can walk in at any point.
Oh, okay.
Last night we had 3 aldermen and the mayor
And it's like
and us.
crazy, but once you do it,
So,
your payback is good.
Right.
I don't really have anything to add. I was just being curious to see what's being
I know fiber's
discussed.
You know Drew?
I do.
Charter.
Yeah.
That's what they call it.
Drew did some stuff for the IDC
Yeah,
for us.
probably
Yes.
is, right?
Good
Well,
stuff.
and it's at least from Lumen.
well, there's and Drew can probably tell you more, there's a sheet there you can fill out with, you know, some,
Yeah,
there's
just
a map. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, just a basic questionnaire. You can use that map if there's anything you want to make notes about and give to me on where a problem area is or where you need road extension or it floods here all the time, whatever. So,
I find all those things on Facebook.
And they're all 100% accurate.
They just post that every time it rains.
Tapped off that and then
It just rained 3 inches in 15 minutes. Everything's flooded. Our town's terrible. I hear it all the time. And I read it all the time.
nobody was coming down there with fiber.
Yeah, I mean, I know you've got manhole right outside the front door here, I think, where AT&T has entrance into some lateral.
so where is
Yeah,
the
because I take that back. I've seen the fiber
The
lines going down Horse Street,
housing?
but I haven't
Authority?
seen the
No,
building
the-
in town started, so maybe.
It's not, wasn't a
Oh,
project,
the
but
potential
yeah,
subdivision?
how's that progressing?
I'm a heavy.
It's progressing. I mean, it's a lot further than it's ever been before. I'll put that out there. But progressing slowly. But the IDC has come along to offer some assistance that has slowly been accepted, and that's kind of where we're at. We own the property now, so that happened.
Oh, it did.
We swapped with the parish, so we own approximately 50 acres. It'd be a good spot. The county's talked about going ahead and putting a road in, but there needs to be some engineering before you put a road in, but we don't have a developer. So you want to leave spots for lots, but you don't want to dictate where the lots go, and there's the money situation, and that's exactly where we're at.
I didn't realize that the ownership had swapped.
Yes, that was
costs so much to buy
in
stuff,
May.
especially these days.
Of this
I
year.
think, everybody's, talks about one gig.
Long time
Do
coming.
you really
Yes.
need that? I mean, I'm sure.
Yes.
A lot of people agreed a long time
That's
ago.
real
Just
gaming.
took some time for
Yeah.
everybody to sign
I
on
don't know that I would
those,
see the
on the
difference
sheets
in
where it needed to
400
happen.
megabytes.
A
Yeah,
lot
I
of
think
pieces fell into place this past year and a half, so.
Sling.
Because I was gonna say, I think it was
Yeah.
probably 2 years ago now that
I get
that we
some,
did that.
I get some
analysis of it.
We probably did it pre-print pandemic,
DirecTV stream.
but I remember the first meeting we had, a
Yeah.
lot of us had masks on.
Hey, what's going on, man? How you been, man?
Yeah, no, we were-
Good to see you.
How are you? Like February of 20,
Good.
we sat down and we're like, we need to do this.
Right.
Get to sit in the AC for a
And
little
then
bit.
March, all hell broke
And
loose.
then everything
You guys
stopped.
fixed it, so you might
I
as
was
well
gonna say,
say
it
it.
wasn't breaks.
I guess we're not late, huh?
This is open
Nope.
until 12 o'clock, so.
Oh, okay.
There's no particular time, if you want to sign in, there's a sheet with some information, and then I know you guys are worried about stormwater,
Mhm.
so that would be, one of the things we'd probably just talk about.
Is this
You're here just for development.
So that's
Sidewalks.
table of
Making anything
content-
happen.
Table of contents for the existing plan,
okay?
and then that's a questionnaire, and then that's a great map to reference and a sign-in sheet. So,
Yeah, and it's nothing formal or anything, just, that you guys can fill the questionnaire out, or you can just have a conversation about, What you
You
think?
guys had a firm come in and do the survey, right, of the stormwater?
We've hired them, we
Yeah.
haven't come in to do it yet, but we've hired them, got a work order.
They haven't done anything yet with it? There was a guy came into our office and asked us a bunch of questions about it
Yeah.
a while back, said he was actually doing it
Okay.
at that time. But that was like months ago, so he never really did anything.
Months ago.
didn't catch a name or who he was with, company-wise?
Man, it was a firm, he was, I may have a card, I think he might have given me a card at a shop, but he was walking the ditch line or whatever, and he asked a bunch of questions about where the water goes.
But you guys never completed that? That was never completed yet?
Well, I mean, it takes time to put the survey together, so they've got to look at what the hydrology is, look at elevation, get all that mapped out first.
Right.
So maybe they went around and started doing some questioning just to get some ideas.
Oh, okay.
But we just did the work order a month ago to say, do it,
Oh, wow.
Go for it all.
Or was he doing some discovery to put together a quote for an RFQ or RFP?
It could have been when we were first looking at it,
Yeah.
hiring somebody, yeah.
Okay.
So it is being done, it's just in the middle of all the other engineering requests that people are putting in because of ARPA money.
so he said you guys were interested in stormwater. Your business is,
Shoe and Sons, it's at 741 Center Drive over here, and we get flooded
Flooded.
all the time. You know, I guess it was just a year ago,
where is this?
in August, we had probably 1.5 foot of water all the way through our building.
That's dead center.
Area right here is like a bowl, and they sit at the bottom.
Okay.
So it's a watershed that runs to one of those sinkholes.
Rapid rainfall, heavy in a short amount of time affects that area
Yeah.
all the time.
And you guys are the August 23rd.
Yeah.
Right. I'm waiting for September 23rd. So we had July 23rd and 20, August 23rd and 21. We're in the 22 now.
Yeah, don't say that.
So I'm sweating it.
Don't say that.
This last rainfall we had, where we had a lot of rain, it wasn't that long ago, maybe 3-4 weeks ago, it came right up to the door.
Yeah.
But then it went right back down, so we were sweating it for a couple seconds.
Yeah, it was close, because it was 3 inches, but it was over 10 hours or 8 hours or something.
Yeah.
We've been getting to 3 inches in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
kind of deal.
Anything over, somewhere between 1.5 to 2 inches in an hour, we'll put it inside the building, for sure.
And there's just not enough detention for all of that coming out.
No.
Cedar.
No, it drains a huge area down.
Yeah.
So we should know something in a few months, but we've got 6 different areas that they're looking at, so.
Right. Gotcha.
So what are the other areas they're looking at?
Northwest part of town where it runs down, comes down to Market Street, goes over to Gabourey, South Gabourey Creek.
Yeah, yeah.
Washington, at the bottom of Washington, 2nd Street. International subdivision where it runs, and it cuts over and goes across 61. We're looking at, on the other side of Progress Parkway, where we got property from the church now. We're looking at that area. What else? One more.
There's 6?
I think there's 6.
Which are the 5 that I thought of?
Yeah.
Are all 5 or 6 of those on like the same scale as far as, does one prioritize the other one?
No, because they're all going to be separate watersheds that go to different points of getting into a creek or out of our system, and
Right.
then something to convey it away.
Right.
So everything's different. The northwest part is the largest. I mean, it's a larger watershed than your area, but you may have more. We have more hard surface in that area because of the businesses and the streets and the houses. So it just collects, and then, again, we're looking at what are the choke points so that we can look at what needs to be fixed. Same kind of stuff we looked at before.
From a holistic view, so we're just not moving water from one area to the other,
Yeah.
Fix a problem and then create a problem.
What we're trying to do is move it from your backyard into mine, essentially.
Yeah.
Don't care what
Right.
area gets there.
I keep bragging about my sump pump and they want to test it out.
Don't say that, because it'll fail. If you start bragging on it, it'll fail. That's usually how it works.
When I'm out of town.
Yeah. We have a sump pump in the shop, and when the water usually comes in the back door first, it goes into a trough, into that sump pump, and then pumps it back out the ditch. And it just flat out won't keep up.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It just runs it right over and.
Yeah, it's great for the smaller rains, and it gets in there, and then, you've got room in that ditch, but when that ditch fills up, it has nowhere to go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty.
Makes me wonder Steve's maintenance efforts, if you're mowing and weeding and cleaning the side of a ditch, you just speeding that water up, you go somewhere else more rapidly, and can it handle it at the end point?
It doesn't look like it's getting too far when it goes across the street into the ditch that goes over to 61. That hasn't filled up, so there may be some capacity there.
Yeah.
So that may be something we'll look at. But we've talked about that, pulling out that stormwater pipe on the highway, and then giving it freer access to get to the other side.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Towards my house. Nice.
But then there's another choke point, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Right now, that water from theirs has to make 2 90-degree turns.
Yeah, it's asking a lot.
It is.
Well, yeah, right there in front of the bank, actually, there's water coming from 2 different directions that meet each other and then have to go straight out underneath the highway.
So theirs was the first building. So of course it was put at what they thought they should have for elevation. Everybody else has gone up around them.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is this area, was it flooding 25 years ago, or is it due to more hard surface and now it's a recent problem?
It
Marshy
is,
swamp area 25 years ago.
Yeah.
yeah, there was
Basically a swamp 25 years ago, yeah.
there was nothing there. So over time, as, the city of St. Genevieve grew, more
Yeah.
pavement, more buildings, roofs, the water has nowhere to go, so it runs in our front door.
Yeah.
And every person that built since built a little bit higher.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's people, they're 3, 4 foot higher than us, right next door.
So they've got detention, they did detention for their properties. But, yeah, there's a lot more building that's gone on there. And it's interesting back there, when you said marshy, I mean, you can tell it's still wet and soft.
Oh, yeah.
As you go back towards the hospital,
It's,
all the way through there.
Yeah.
you know, it's natural, I mean, that ground holds water there year round.
Yeah.
That ditch that runs alongside of us, it never dries out.
No.
I mean, it's always got water.
I mean, I feel like
It's been
that
way forever.
was one of the properties looked at for the community center originally, 25 years ago, was that piece, because it was all open, it was right in the middle of town, but I think that the water part of it scared them. Don't want to stick it right in the middle of the swamp.
It's low and there's not much elevation to get it away.
Yeah.
So, you know, and they're at the bottom of all that's trying to get away, and the ditch that gets it away is right by them, so.
Right. So obviously, years ago, before all those buildings were around us, it would just go out into that whole area before it would get into our building.
Right. Yeah.
You know, but now we are the retention basin.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, we try to keep Bowser's, to keep their detention basin cut so that it keeps enough capacity in there. I don't know if it's growing up again or.
Yeah. Look back there lately, but I don't think when you get that kind of rain, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter if every one of them retention basins is in perfect working order, it doesn't matter. You know, there's not enough there.
Because it is a rain that nobody ever thought we would get as often as we're getting.
Well, it's getting worse now, but I mean, we've always gotten rains of an inch or two within an hour. You know, that's not,
Not
uncommon really.
Yeah.
It's just that, 2 inches of rain in an hour will definitely be clear through the building.
Yeah.
You know, and those rains, I mean, it seems like we're getting heavier rains now, it's more than that, but those rains have been happening forever.
Yeah.
It's just that every time somebody builds, it gets worse and worse, And I mean, we've almost tried to explore every avenue we can do personally to fix it, and there's nothing feasible that we can do to fix it,
So it's something we will be looking at. We should have engineering reports over the next few months.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely, I mean, that'll be something that we look at in the plan regardless, but as that information comes in, we'll definitely tie it in as well.
Is there any land left in that little area that can be developed? I know Eric's mom put that duplex back there. Is there any?
I
There's
mean,
still
the
some
old
open?
Chico's lot
Is that, yes.
is owned by the same people that own Butterfield, or a different LLC belonging to the same people.
Yeah.
So there's that area.
Which if something gets built there, it's gonna be a hard surface that's gonna shed even more.
Right.
And it's above you guys.
Yeah, it's already above us. And I guarantee you, if something gets built there, they'll build it up even higher than what it is now.
Yeah.
Because Troutman Building is right next to that, the
It is
Edward
kinda
Jones
sits
or
on-
whatever,
it's on
and
a
he's
patch.
higher yet than even Chico.
Yeah.
That's really, I mean, Eric obviously owns a lot of property there, but that's pretty marshy also.
Yeah.
Butterfield's got that open lot next door. That's where the stormwater goes through.
Next door on Park,
Yeah.
they own a small piece there, yeah.
And then somebody else owns another part of that, or?
Then you get into Mr. Marzuko, I believe, and then Eric Bosler owns the
Yeah.
majority of that, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I don't know if that'll ever get developed on that side of it.
Right.
Now, would Chico's would their stormwater go out front?
Well,
Or does it
I-
go as
it's
a
been a
base?
long
if
time.
it's anything like the Edward Jones building, it's half and half.
Okay.
You know, the front side of his goes out the front and the back side goes out the back.
He's got little keyways, you know,
Yeah.
where he can detain in his parking area, and then it lets it out a little at a time, but it, I mean, there are efforts made, but like you
Yeah.
said, if you get 3 inches in an hour and a half,
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's the same kind of retention that the bank has on the other side. Was, you know, they retain
Oh,
water
Bank of
in their,
Bloomfield?
in their lot, and they got a loophole in the back that
yeah.
lets it out.
Yeah.
That lot behind community counseling, is that owned by the community council folks? There's this big empty, it's kind of right behind Matt's building.
Oh, I do think that's part of that, part of their lot, yeah. Kind of in between 2 buildings, yeah.
Yeah, there's just kind of a square there.
Well, besides stormwater, are there any other things that you guys, I mean, this is a comprehensive plan for kind of, you know, future land use, public utilities, transportation, anything else come up that you guys see as a city need in the future?
No, I mean,
Housing,
I guess I haven't really thought
businesses.
that far in advance.
I know stormwater
Most
is
concerned
an
about
important
this.
issue, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're mainly concerned with what's going on with that right now.
Hopefully, it's Cochran, hopefully, right?
Yep.
Cochran will have a plan, like you said, here in the next few months. You know, but when we have the plan, and maybe Happy can speak better, it's gonna be a matter of what can be done.
Right.
You know, and that's gonna be a combination of probably MoDOT, city, property owners,
Right.
if it can be done.
Yeah, I've done my share of talking with MoDOT about the situation. They have bigger fish to fry than us. You know, they have bigger projects to worry about than ours, is the answer I got from them. So,
Did you talk with one of their local
Yeah.
engineers?
Brian Okenfoos, yeah, I talked to him, and he was very, very honest about it, you know, he said there's a lot of stuff that they're, one of the main things was that Cascade Bridge, or Chester Bridge.
Yeah, he's on that now.
You know, he said,
Yeah, so that big box there. that big
he said he
space
won't
there.
forget about us, but might be a while before they even think about doing something.
Huh.
Yeah, which, you know, I guess that's the way it is. Yeah.
And that's,
The Burgess group
Yeah.
there.
he's, Brian is now
So
solely
this
on the
big green
Chester Bridge.
space is all
It's,
owned by
Yeah.
Eric.
Chris Crocker
These are
is
the ones
the
you're
good
talking about, aren't you?
MoDOT contact for our area.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but they own all the way back, both of them.
Right, all the way back.
This is probably, no, this is the
Hospital.
doctor's office. Yeah, this is the council. And this is the one that's empty.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
goes,
Yeah.
And that's all, this big piece is all Eric's.
This is Eric, shoes. Yeah, they goes on regions. If you guys want, I mean, maybe Drew took the notes, you don't need him to write any of that down, do you? As far as the stormwater?
No, yeah, I've got the notes on the area and what's going on.
Feel free to fill those out if you have any other ideas.
Yeah.
Take it with me and see what I can come up with.
The one sheet there is really just like a copy of the index, right?
Yeah,
To the
yeah, just
comprehensive.
the-
So that sheet that's on your left there, yeah,
Goes
that's,
with that book.
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
Yeah.
just to kind of give you an idea of all of the topics that we'll be looking at,
Right.
so.
Mhm.
And you were with the engineering firm?
No, I'm with Regional Planning Commission. We're out of Perryville.
Oh, okay.
We're not engineers, we're just doing the comprehensive plan that
Gotcha.
it doesn't really, it doesn't get into the details where an engineer is needed, but you know, as those
He makes
engineering
this
plans,
book.
yeah, as the engineering plans come in, we'll incorporate them in, you know, at least by reference into the comp plan that, you know, this study that's being done for the stormwater, you know, we'll reference it, pull
So-
in the recommendation.
I could have been more clear probably. Two different efforts, working, not connected at this point, but this firm is working on the comprehensive plan. A whole nother firm working on the stormwater.
Sure.
So that's Cochran Engineering doing that study,
Gotcha.
which I assume was their guy walking through just to get an idea how to give us a quote on
Yeah.
the service.
I mean, it could have been, I probably, like I said, if I look at my office, I'll probably have a card.
Yeah.
You can give me, but I can't remember what. That's been a few months back.
Yeah.
So you can see by the survey, this effort's a little bit more broad. It's like, hey, what's your vision for the city for the next 20 years out?
Sure.
You know?
A dry building.
You know, that's obviously our hope.
Right.
I mean, we want the city to grow too. It's, you know, it's good for business, it's good for the city, good for our kids, good for everything, you know.
You just want to be able to work when it rains, not have to worry about your building.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to go through that again. And we've been through several small floods, but that one we had last year was something.
Yeah, that was bad.
That cost us a lot of money,
Yeah.
you know, for rainwater, which is kind of a bad deal, you know.
Yeah, you don't generally figure that into your business plan. And flood insurance is,
That's a joke.
doesn't cover.
Flood insurance didn't cover any of it.
No.
Yeah, needless to say, we shut our flood insurance down. We canceled it as soon as they said, we're not helping you, we said, you ain't getting our money, you know.
So you filed a claim and it was denied.
Yeah, they would not help us, yeah. It has to, in order to consider it a flood, they said there has to be 3 adjoining properties flooded.
Yeah.
One is the bank, which is like 8 feet higher, and the other one's an empty parking lot.
Yeah, I mean,
We will never, ever be able to turn in flood insurance, ever. Yeah, not in a million years, you know. It would have to be Noah's Ark type rain for us to, and then, you know, if that happens,
right.
the whole town of St. Genevieve's in
In order
trouble.
for somebody else to get flooded around us, our building would be completely underwater.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, even though it was recorded the amount of rain we got over a short period of time, I mean, you would think that would be,
Yeah.
that would be.
I mean, they got their ways of getting out of stuff,
Mhm.
you know. Yeah,
You could go shoot grade and say, okay, well, hey, we're X feet below. It seems like you could plead that case,
Yeah.
but
Oh, yeah.
Talking about insurance though, I mean, they're gonna fight you tooth and nail. And that all costs money too.
yeah.
You know, I guess you take them to court or whatever, but, you know. It's crazy.
I can tell you a lot of good lawyers. I watch the news at noon, And I see all their ads, I can pass some names on to you.
Right.
Nobody ever fights you when you send a check in every month for the premium.
That's right. Yeah. But anyway, I mean, so, as far as today goes, I mean, we don't really know anymore, no matter what's going on.
No,
Until
once
get
we-
the report back.
Once we get the report back, we'll get in touch with you guys, and we'll sit down and talk about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, today's just really listening.
Yeah.
So, and I think, you guys are well heard. So, stormwater is a pretty important issue right now. So I'm sure it'll factor into the comp plan, that besides the fact that the city has got an engineering firm out there looking to see
Right.
what could be done.
And that's due to ARPA money, so that is where it comes in, good for the city, is that we wouldn't have been able to afford all of these areas that we're doing on our own. But with the ARPA money, we can do it.
Right,
So
okay.
let's do it.
Yeah.
This is important.
Well, I think we're gonna get back to work.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the house call to check and make sure that our AC was ready.
Very comfortable in here.
Right.
But,
Well, appreciate it, fellas.
Yeah,
Appreciate you guys coming by.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming in.
yeah.
if you think of anything else, do send it. Somebody
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
Sure.
I'll sit down tonight with my cocktail and
Well, and they're gonna be on email distribution list now.
Yeah.
And you'll see how this thing develops.
Oh, yeah.
Check your email.
There'll be a survey eventually also that'll come out, whether it be in a postcard you get or online. So feel free to fill that out also. And if you have others, know others that want to fill it out. The more input, the better.
okay.
This is the second meeting, and this has been the participation, so you can see how easy it is to have your voice heard. You don't have to fight anybody. Come in here and say what you mean and get it recorded,
Right.
so.
Yeah. Well, you guys should have these all the time. You know?
Well, we do.
Lunch, yeah.
Like every other Thursday. I'll get you to come by, man.
We got lunch coming by in about 15 minutes.
Yeah. We'll be back.
See you guys, thanks again, appreciate it.
I hadn't been to a city council meeting in a long time, and I was there last Thursday and got to hear the tourism debate. I thought, do they gotta do this every Thursday?
They're normally not that lively, and I enjoy it when it gets like that. I like to know that people are out there passionate.
I enjoy the people that get up and actually say their point. The people that whisper in the back and don't say anything and just kind of do like a little cheer every now and again. I get it, but
Yeah.
these, so I get the emails from the economic development stuff, and they awarded the block grant stuff, or has sent out a big list of block grant. Is that one of those things where we never qualify because our income's too high for
Yep.
them? As I was looking through this, and I started looking at some of the people that got money, and I was like, these are all pretty poor communities or relative to it.
Right.
Because I was looking through what they were using the money for, and I was like, man, I can read it, like, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this. I'm like, you probably don't qualify for any of this money.
Hey,
'cause
how are you?
Probably too high of a medium income,
Good place to
I would
be.
imagine.
This is the place to be. This is the
Probably it's the same with DRA.
solicitation of public input for the comprehensive plan.
Well, I thought that was a little, I haven't looked up.
Or do you
the
just have to be a
specs.
larger?
Sign-in sheet,
DRA is
good map for reference, probably this is the most important
You have to talk
piece, is a question here.
market specifically, but
And then that's
I don't-
just table of contents for the
It doesn't
existing
have to
plan.
be low income.
Okay. Does it have to be?
Depends on the project, I think.
Okay.
There's, I think almost everything that DRA does has to have jobs attached to it.
Yeah.
Because I was looking through then the grant cycles that were open, and there was I feel like there was a stormwater one. And it basically said it's never closed, like it's always open, but you have to submit
Yeah.
what your project's gonna be, and then if they approve it, then you can go
It's like
further.
a notice of intent kind of thing.
Because that's what I was thinking with housing, that, and potentially there on Bosler and Parkwood, of how get some funds,
Yeah.
even if it's an 80-20 or 70/30 or whatever.
To do the
it is.
repairs is what you're talking about, not necessarily. Because we have money for the study. The ARPA money's paying for that.
Yeah, no, but I mean for like, if we would move forward with the housing project.
Oh,
To
oh,
do new, to
okay.
do new
Yeah.
stormwater, new, water and everything for the
It's just a
site,
reference map of the
basically,
city.
site development.
Some questions you can answer. It's just a listening session. And then this is basically an index of the comp plan.
Okay,
So
can I
that's-
sit
You guys haven't had
somewhere?
any luck?
Absolutely, you can sit right here.
You sit there, you sit at the table,
Yeah.
sit down there. Yeah.
You haven't had any luck with
I
your
like you right up
sidewalks,
here.
reimbursement, any
Nobody,
of that kind of stuff?
nobody, we've had a couple of inquiries, but nobody applied.
Yeah.
Nobody took advantage of it. So we put it back into next year's budget, but what
Right.
we're gonna end up doing is we're going to enforce the code section and just go from there. And if we have to do the replacement, then we'll put it on as a lien on the property. We'll give people, 30 days to at least get somebody hired, and if they don't, then we'll move forward, and we have to do the same thing for ourselves, and if we don't use up all the money, we'll fix our sidewalks with it.
Yeah,
Because we need to do it in the street, we need to do it out here, in front of City Hall. I think we're okay, most of our other locations. Because we don't have anything at fire department. So,
Yeah.
has there been any movement with the bridge out here? The 4th Street?
So, Gary got an email yesterday from someone in the federal government that the flap grants were going to go forward,
So then
that they were going to be funded, I think, in 2025.
Oh,
This was him reading an email, so I'm
Sure.
not 100% sure. But there was no determination on whether St. John received it or not, unless you have a,
I don't know anything.
so it wasn't.
that was a
bad.
fully funded one, right?
Yes.
yeah.
It's a flap grant. Federal land access.
I mean, I guess if somebody's gonna pay 100%, you'd be willing to wait 3 years. Bummer.
It would still take that long, because there's probably gonna be engineering and studies and all that. It'll take that much time before you'd even look at trying
Right.
to build it.
Especially because we were going to shift the road just a little
Yeah,
bit.
so how can we get the electric poles out of the street and sidewalk? How can we shift that so the electric poles aren't right there? Every time they do the Friday collection out there and we're driving by, it's all I think about is like, they're standing like right by that pole. If someone swerves to miss them, they're gonna drive straight into a power pole.
Well, if you take the power pole out, then they're probably looking at a replacement. So they have to then relocate it.
Yeah. It's true.
Challenge accepted.
It's
Due for a new truck anyway.
You're
Speaking
gonna
of,
take your new Ford
speaking of
Lightning and do that, aren't you?
Accepted.
When you get that truck, you're gonna run right into it. Just
Well, if you bury utility,
Oh, there you
like
go. Yeah.
modern day, you cannot have a pole, and you can future-proof your utility. It's my soapbox for the day.
Do we have any, or is there a city policy if there's like a housing project? Is there an ordinance that requires any of the utilities to be underground? Or-
We have subdivision ordinance that, there's multiple requirements, but
Yeah.
the utility piece of it,
Don't utilities get underground out in my neighborhood? Because they seem to all they're ditch witching something over there
I don't know what they're doing right
in,
now.
off of Osler Drive.
I don't know what they're doing right now, but
It looks
your
to be
utilities
going-
are probably underground.
They are. There's no overhead
Just like
power
at
poles.
Valley Spring, they're underground.
Yeah.
but
They
a
would
lot of them
have to
aren't.
be for the kids, and it would make sense that they'd go underground in new places.
I can't imagine new construction would go aerial, but maybe, I don't know. Seems hard to,
I mean, downtown, you have to go down above, because you can't go under, but out in the new part, you have to go under, I would think. Okay, sorry.
No, no. Do that up front, and the cost is what it is.
Right.
As
Yeah.
opposed to the
Yeah.
cost of redoing it.
Has
Right.
anybody wanted to take on that project out Osler Drive? Has anybody expressed interest in developing that?
We don't have a developer yet.
Okay. I'm working on my questions. Okay. This is really cool. I'm glad you're doing this. I never heard of such a thing. And again, I wasn't listening.
Well, you're not the only one who hasn't heard about it, so.
Well, I
mean, just
shared it on
across
Here's the Local Scoop,
communities.
but I don't have nearly the followers that what's really going on in St. Genevieve has. But I don't run that page, so I can't share stuff there as easily. Okay.
And the evening one was last night, or it's
Correct.
tonight? It was last night. Nobody showed up.
3 aldermen and the mayor.
I meant to come, but I was tired and I thought I'll come tomorrow. And then I was delivering flowers for my jobs, so didn't have time to get here right at 10.
We're glad you're here.
But we did deliver flowers from Aunt Kiki's Flower Farm, FYI. Maine, it's not, it's a secret location. But we have a flower farm that we deliver and sell flowers out of. But anyway,
Well, I went to the volleyball game, and wow, Jackson's got a good volleyball.
Well, I saw
Because
they
our
won-
team's good.
Yeah, and they won the first set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, but man, Jackson had some girls that could.
so nobody's come and answered these questions?
Well, we had some gentlemen here just now, and like I
Okay.
said, there were some older persons here last night.
Okay.
But from these questions will come a survey. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, there'll be a much lengthier survey that goes into a lot more detail. That'll come in the
Okay.
future. I just kind of use responses. These are very broad questions, but just to kind of see what feedback we get, and that helps me kind of. Some of the questions in the survey are pretty standard across any community that we do work for, but
Okay.
some of the answers can help kind of tailor some of those questions,
What is RPC, Regional Planning and Growth? Or
Regional Planning
and-
Commission.
Commission, okay, yeah, that would be a C. Okay,
Yeah, we're out of Perryville,
yeah, I see.
but we work all
For
the
the-
way up to St. John, 7-county
Yeah.
region, so.
Where do you, no, that's just St. John, where do you go west?
We go out to Iron County,
Oh, okay, like Ironton,
Madison,
Arcadia Valley and
yeah.
all that?
we do Madison County, Fredericktown's part of our area, Farmington and all of St. Francis County,
Okay,
down to Cape and Bollinger.
okay. Good you don't go all the way down into Butler and all that, because
No.
that gets a little bit more difficult.
That's a different commission.
Have a lot of family down there. Okay, we need walkable sidewalks in the upper part of town. And we need fixed sidewalks in the down part of town, that there's some problem ones, but walkable sidewalks to where I live and out to Robinwood,
Is that what you're calling the upper?
upper, I don't know direction, but I'm calling,
About 32,
yeah, 32 from, let's see, Progress Parkway has walkable sidewalks. Valley Springs is fine, but to get from, I'll just talk about it, to get from Dollar General to Windcrest to Robinwood is a little bit difficult. People walk in front of Casey's, people have gotten hit and killed, I believe, in front of Casey's once. Some guy tried to walk across and he might not have got killed, but he got hit bad. They walk from Triangle Inn to Casey's, Robinwood, the jail, Dollar General, all around in there. And if there's any way we could have some sidewalks or some egress, it'd be awesome if we could walk all the way out to the community center, but that's where Bosler Drive could extend, and that could be that path. Because you can't really extend out 32. That would involve MoDOT and a lot of work. So if you could go the other way, that would be great, I think.
But even that in front of like Dollar General and Casey's and all that would be state.
Yeah, so if there was a back way they could get to it, which they do now, they go through Microtel, they go through the road the laundromat and the ambulance district is on. So that's a safe, walkable area. To get, there needs to be some way to get across 32 and that would be a MoDOT thing, but there needs to be some sort of a caution light or something from Robinwood Terrace Drive, or whatever that is called, into O'Reilly's Save-A-Lot Dollar General area, a walkway with caution light, because those ladies with their babies and the push carts, it's just like, oh my God.
There's always people crossing there.
Yeah, and it's really hard to get out in a car without being very careful. Like they did on 32, where they made that 32 and 55, where they made that thing where it tells you where to park. They need one of those at Robinwood, so people know to angle, so you can see both directions, would be helpful. Weaknesses and character, stormwater is the worst. Affordable rental housing, second. Mid-priced housing purchase, third. Because there's a lot of houses to be bought, but they're not always the level that people are looking for, so they have to do a lot of rehab. I think new housing would be great out off of Bosler Drive. Affordable rental housing somehow mixed in would be awesome. Family housing, like Windcrest by the nursing home. Something in the lower income with a really good management company would be awesome off of Bosler Drive. Just gonna say that.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, we're not saying. Yeah, we have great history, we have great small town hospitality in spades. We have a lot of problem with differing visions of what the town could be, as far as old vision, don't want so much traffic downtown, we want to be able to get to the farms, we want to be able to get to our houses, and then there's the big wave of new people who come in that see that the tourist, we could like wipe some northern towns off the map as far as what we have to offer. But they have Viking cruise ships coming into their town, and we have no river place where the Viking cruise ships can land, so they land north. Or maybe south. I guess they land in Cape too. They could if they wanted to. But oh man, if we could get those cruise ships to stop here somehow, that's a long off thing, because there's a lot of people involved in catching river access.
Right.
But I don't know about this last question. That's hard to address the above comments. That's why people get elected. The first part I can understand, but I feel like the county, city is better working together than they ever have been. As far as when I go to the commission meetings and I come to my alderman, I get a lot more cohesive thought patterns than I used to, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And usually when I go to the commission and tell them something, they say, you have to talk to the city and they have to approach us. And I'm like, I know that. And they will when it's appropriate. So, I'm trying to think, I don't know where else there could be development. Because Industrial Road is pretty much all industrial now. All that property has gone to the big corporations that have that underground rights. And we're just the city, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about what goes all the way out on 32, that's a county problem.
Right.
Quarrytown, that's county, because that's a really cool area to develop. If it ever does, I like it just like it is myself.
There we go.
I think.
There's about 4 families that I don't think are ever gonna sell.
I happen to be related to a big bunch of them.
Yeah.
But I think the Bosler Drive's already a done deal. So that's already been planned to go further. And Progress Parkway's already progress. So I think that's a good, I don't even know who owns all that land out there. Church?
Church owns most of it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I wish more people had a thought or would think to come, because has anybody Zoomed in? No, most people don't know how to do that. It's not COVID time, exactly COVID time, so they're not wanting to have to Zoom anywhere. Antique malls. We need another one of those. It would be awesome if we could develop whoever,
Did you pay her to say that?
whoever owns not Sylvanus, Miss Elaine. I don't know who owns that, but Miss Elaine could be an antique mall because it already has parking. It's a big enough building. It was previously coded as business because it was bare walls. Big building. Somebody needs to look into redeveloping that building for that kind of stuff. Antique would be about the only thing I think you could use it for, because it's, you know, it's an industrial-y type building. 3 antique malls would be ideal. 1, 2, 3. One down there, one there, and
I think the current one, the owners are thinking about expanding.
oh, I know they are.
Okay.
Yeah, I worked there for a booth, one booth,
Gotcha.
the most successful booth. I think. It has antiques, and it's the first one you see. So, Cosmopolitan Farms.
I guess I gotta go to the antique mall.
Yeah, I have
I haven't went
a
there.
bad habit of, I like antiques.
I like the antique mall. It's a fun place to walk if you haven't paid money to walk somewhere else,
Yeah.
which I haven't lately. I need to go there because they don't have a pool at the antique mall.
Right?
Let's see. Can the community center ever have night hours on the pool?
For which, inside or?
No, that
water
out
park?
one, water park. I'm not talking this year because it's almost over, but next year?
I get about 50 more employees.
See?
That's the hindrance so far, why we haven't expanded anything, 'cause I don't.
Oh, I know their employees are the thing, but it would be so cool to have an adult night thing where you could not employ the water slides. Shut those down. Shut everything down that's high and dangerous. And have people in the lazy river with the concession stand open. That would be fun. I've never been in the water park. I have no desire to be on a slide. It would be very uncomfortable. And I don't like that step business. That's for young people.
Yeah, there it is about
Yeah.
58 steps up to the top.
About.
And a splash pad in the Pierre Marquette Park would be good for little kids. Because little kids are not really as, this is my understanding from the talk. Little kids at that particular water park are difficult because little bitty kids, because there's so many big kids. And so if you have a mix of little kids and big kids, it's difficult with the little bitty ones. So if there was a splash pad attached or an expansion, I don't know if there's a room for expansion into a little kid area, that'd be awesome. I figured that's already in the talk.
Yeah, we got a big old flat spot back there.
Yeah.
We just ran out of money.
Oh,
like
I know.
Everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, when we did
Everybody,
the planning of that, these people came in and they did this study and they started asking, well, do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? I don't think we said no to anything until they said, well, this is how much all of that would cost. And then it was
Then
like,
you have to
okay.
put- then you have to
Yes,
put-
we do have to say no to some things.
yeah, you put that out there for the town, and how much is this gonna cost my taxes? And they're like, no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no. Our taxes are already really, really high, but we
Well, I
have a
know
lot
this,
to offer for it.
We're very blessed that we did it when we did, because if we tried to build that exact same thing today, and we spent 10 million, I don't know that 15 million would build it,
Yeah.
just in 4 years.
How is it maintaining it? Is it as you thought, or is it easier or harder to maintain all the equipment?
It's early, so I
Yeah.
don't know that I would.
Don't really know
I mean,
yet.
it's been good.
It seems, I haven't heard nothing but good.
We're gonna be close to 60,000 visitors, I think, this summer.
What was the
We got
projected?
3 days left. Their feasibility study said the best year you'd have is about 45,000. So,
I love that.
yeah, but also, you gotta remember, when we did that study, minimum wage was $7-something an hour.
And now
You know,
it's,
we're paying people $15 an hour, so.
yeah, you kinda gotta go with whatever the market is holding.
Yeah.
You can't beat the
8 months
nursing
after we did
homes
a
and-
study, Missouri voted to increase minimum wage over the next 5 years. So, we didn't take that into account, but I mean,
Oh, well.
still.
But
that's
everybody that,
part of the growing pains.
everybody that had the vision should be getting the pat on the back now. I don't know that they are, but you know, that was a lot of vision to do that. Marjorie Bussin, thank you very much. She was a lovely, lovely lady, Bussin Corey Marjorie, who endowed that thing. I worked with her years ago when I was in high school. She was lovely.
Gina, do you think a splash pad, like, as an expansion of the community center? Or do you think
Both.
a splash pad at
Both.
Pear Marquette Park?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Because there's kids that will not access the community center because they live in the north part of town. So they can get themselves with their family down that lovely park, whatever that sidewalk is that goes to the river. Somewhere down in there, you could have a splash pad that was not all the way up the top of the hill. You know, because up the top of the hill was where the pool was, and that's all well and good, but try pushing a stroller up that hill. Not so much. Put a splash pad back where a splash pad was. You remember where it was? Are you old enough to remember? Where we had the little wading pool? It was, you remember the tennis courts where they used to be? You went up the hill and there was a round pool. And it had a little fountain in it, and the pool was this deep on the edge, and then it got to about that deep in the middle, and then there was the big pool up on the park. But the little kids, we went to the little pool. Do you remember, anybody remember that? No, okay.
I barely remember the one in the park.
Well, you have to be old and have a memory like an elephant. But there was a pool there, and it was right off that parking lot as you go back to the subdivision. And that would be an
Where the
open,
little ball field is now?
the ball field's here, the pool was over here.
In the streets, this goes back to the side. So like where that little gravel lot
Where that
is.
little gravel lot is, in
I
the
know what you're I
corner,
know what you're talking about.
in the corner, there was a little pool. It was a little concrete pool. The sides were this tall. Well, I was little. The sides were there, and then you went to the middle, and the middle was not more than that deep. And then it went all the way out to where it was just a little bitty tiny thing. And I think they had a fountain in the middle of it. It wasn't a big deal, but now they have splash pads like
Right.
Perryville where it's
No standing water.
no standing water where mosquitoes come.
Well, you have to run into having to staff stuff when you have standing water. If you have no standing water, then you can get by with
Less staffing,
just having it open.
yeah.
Worry about the lifeguarding aspect of it.
Yeah, but that's what they had back in the day, was the big pool that the Sullivans ran, and then the little tiny pool that they had somebody at to make sure nobody faced down into the water. But I was at the big pool, but my niece was at the little pool, so that's how I know. Swim lessons and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I think you need to look at both the north and whatever it is west, whatever Progress Park, I don't know, north, south, east, west, it gets confusing. Out by the community center is already good, but north, we need a little bit more, but you gotta worry about the flood aspect, but the park is real good, so the park would be, and the park is great with the disc golf. That's amazing how well they developed that. So, I
I
didn't look
think
at
the
it.
park plan is amazing. The Dunsies came
Yeah.
up with it. It's just a matter
Park.
of funding it to do it. I mean, I think that they have a really cool idea for it. I always, when I see our park, I always think about Capitol Park in Cape.
Yeah, park system in Cape's
You
amazing.
know, because I lived close there when I went to school down there. It's such cool.
I've seen it a lot from the hospital.
Do you know what they're doing? They drained the,
They're
They
deep,
emptied
making
the
it deeper.
They emptied the entire lake there. Like, I was just down there about
Yeah.
a week or two
Aren't they gonna
ago.
make it deeper so they can fish better?
I think I think they were
They're
cleaning the whole
cleaning
thing,
the
dredging
whole thing out
out.
so that
Gotcha.
they can put the fish back to make it more fishable,
Gotcha.
what I heard.
Yeah.
Make it more efficient.
I thought maybe they were just trying to get rid of all the geese.
That could be because they're a little messy.
And they're rude too.
Oh,
They
gosh,
are.
I went to Maryville when it was a college, not a university.
Mhm.
We talk about some nasty rude geese.
Mhm.
We had them in the west part of the county.
But
I
they've
lived,
updated their playground stuff there quite a bit
Good camp hall.
recently, yeah, and, they have a little splash pad there. They have the field now is all fenced. When I was in school down there, it wasn't fenced in yet, but now it's all.
the baseball field
It's
for
all
the,
fenced in now.
what's they called, the Red Hawk, not the Red Hawks, but
Cape catfish. play there, too,
catfish.
Yeah,
The catfish.
but yeah, I guess they ran into that where at some point they had to start to have a central point where people came in. Because before, when there wasn't a fence around it, you could just walk up anywhere.
And you could charge to get people in there.
Right, so I guess when they brought in like the catfish and they did a lot of those field improvements, they probably needed to contain. I
Yeah.
assume Plaza Tire must have given them a huge donation, because you walk in and it's like you're walking into a Plaza Tire. There's just a giant, like that's
Isn't
the
Plaza Tire and
entrance.
Rhodes the same family? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Plaza Tire and Rhodes are the same family but different divisions. It's like Dury's. The Dury's are a big divided family with all kinds of cool stuff. This is what is this thing? Contents?
That's the table of contents for the existing plan. Just to
Where
kinda
is
give
the
you-
existing plan? Oh, it's big.
Just to kind of give you an idea of when we say comprehensive, this is.
Where's
what we
that
need.
located that people could look at it? In the library?
Oh, I don't know. Are there
Is there
other
one in the
copies
library?
There's
around?
copies here, and it's also accessible. I can email it to you.
Well, I don't want it on an email, that'd take forever. I mean, can't there be one at the library
It's
where
probably
people
on
can
the
just go
city-
look
is
at
on the
it?
city side?
It's on the city site. It takes quite a while to download.
No. It'd be great if it was downloaded where somebody could come in and sit and look at it. I know it's City Hall and you can come in and sit and look at it, but the library would be a good place for one. Because people that don't feel comfortable walking in City Hall, because it's right next to the jail, or right next to the police, might want to look at it somewhere off city side.
Yeah, so we can do that when we get the new one.
The new one, yeah, not the old one. The old one's not,
Yeah, it'll be out of date.
yeah,
Well, it's already out of date, but yes.
but,
So there hasn't been any changes since '97.
wow.
I felt, man, it was like
We've had floods
2010-ish
since
or
then.
something. I feel like we met, a group of us all met down here at some point. I felt like we were talking about a conference. 'Cause I feel like I have one of
There
those
was-
in my office.
This has been a few years ago now. There was a start to looking at just the vision section,
Maybe
updating
that's
the
what it
vision.
was.
And that process never really went anywhere. But it wasn't gonna be a
Overhaul.
full update, it was just kind of looking at the goals for the community.
The city's Creek Road, isn't it?
Small portion of it.
Yeah,
but not
very
much.
small portion.
Oh, that needs a bike trail. Wow, a little lined bike thing out there, because that's a fabulous bike trail.
Where's that at?
Huh?
Where at?
Creek Road,
Wilder in town or whatever.
Yeah.
So we're up here.
Yeah.
if there was a bike trail that could
Right
connect
here.
the river
Oh,
road,
okay.
connect the, connect the one that goes all the way down to the river, all the way out to Industrial Road, but don't get on the highway. That would be a fabulous bike trail for a bike race. If you could do county-city cooperation thing. Because that road is a lot of private ownership.
Like White Sands, is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
White Sands
like-
Industrial and then back?
Yeah, I suck at reading maps. Creek Road.
Yeah.
Creek Road, Riverview Drive,
You,
Little
White
Rock.
Sands goes past the radio station.
Yeah,
And then
there.
you go out, you could come
and then
back
you
down.
could come back down.
To the levee.
Because Sugar Bottom's too private. Sugar Bottom, I think, is a more private road.
It's a county road.
It's a county road.
Well, I know, but
Section.
I'm just saying, like, you could do it either, there could be a bunch of different routes for a longer route or a shorter route. Because a lot of
Sure,
people
but
like to bike.
All paved, right?
Yep.
Your phone's like a blind person
Yeah, it's going on.
or a deaf person.
Hello,
It's work, Dad.
Yeah.
how's it going?
When it flashes, you know it's important.
How much? What can I do for you?
But yeah, some sort of a walking, biking, everything but motorized and horses, because they're both messier. But some kind of a trail that would get you all the way around St. Genevieve to get you in all the areas of the city
Yeah.
would be sweet. Then you could have, and a connected thing of all of the Airbnbs and VRBOs, and we have a list of that somewhere, don't we?
We do, and they're all, well, I mean, tourism is kind of, you know, in
Flux.
between, yes, let's say in flux, but the website has a majority of the Airbnbs listed on it. The
Okay.
tourism website, not the city hall website.
What is the difference? One's Visit St. Gen and one's
That's the
City Hall.
tourism website.
So, who currently runs Visit St. Gen? Thought so. The desk could be, this is a totally separate subject, but the desk could be staffed as much as the center's open by a cadre of volunteers, which you could get from the high schools as an interns, unpaid, and then a few older docent type people that you could give a tiny little bit of money to watch the younger ones. That's what we used to do back in the day. Lorraine Stang, my mother-in-law Jeanette Hoover, Shirley Myers, Frankie Dunsey, Fran Ballinger, all of those ladies who are no longer with us ran a whole bunch of people that connected but not connected, because they were all colonial dames and then some other people, Foundation for Restoration. If we had a cooperative of all of those type things, I don't think the city would have to pay a whole lot to a tourism director to supervise, and the tourism director could, main function could be the marketing thing.
Right.
You know, and take the headache away from the city manager. Because, you know, it's just one area of the city that could be benefited. And then the county, I told the county commission a week or two ago that if they had a little tiny little kiosk in the corner of their parking lot under the shade trees, like a little booth, that'd be cool. They could hand out tourist information from there too, from a parking lot, a little bitty booth, little kiosk. Or that thing that they've already got built there, that would be something you could close in and put a little heater in. Trying to think what was the other thing I told the commission, and then they put it in the paper that I was Gina Bryant. I thought, I'm sure she loved that. She's an artist and I'm not. No, she's a very talented artist. But that would be a possibility. And if the Museum Art Center was staffed the same hours as the rest of the business, whatever, that'd be cool too. But that's an art guild thing.
Yeah.
I can't think of nothing else. Do we have empty businesses?
They're supposed to put Bennett in the newspaper and they put Ryan.
Yeah, they did. I was like, I told Mark the other day, I drove by, I said, Mark, it was Bennett, not Bryant. And he says, oh, and I said, you might want to fix that in a retraction. I was glad it was the way it was though, because then I didn't look like I was so nosy. I was like, well, sorry, Gina Bryant, but you got credit for my rambling to the commission in front of the state representative and the new state representative even. I made them sit there for a second while I told them my thought. I said, don't leave. You could go to the Jeff City and tell them we want more money. But St. Genevieve is so much potential, but you gotta be careful, because if you let it go too much, then you know, take away the charm. You don't want to turn it into Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg, where they've got so much crazy. We don't want to be the strip of crazy. But anyway, it's 11:10. I think you guys are doing great. I think I'm gonna go, because I gotta go to the antique mall and finish my stuff.
Well, thanks for all your feedback.
I'll leave this.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
But I'm taking this and this and this.
Yeah, if you have any more thoughts or ideas,
You have a card.
yep, just email
I have
them to
a
me
file.
or-
I don't have a phone with numbers. I have a file system. Works really well too. It's just heavier to move. It's actually not in a rolling thing, it's in books. I have 3 or 4 different books with everybody's cards back from the 80s. Most of them are not there anymore, so I really need to clean those cards out. But I've saved them all. It gives you a good idea of what kind of Vistaprint cards you should have or not have. Because if they've stuck to the vinyl, that was not a good choice. So,
We'll add mine to the collection.
well, I don't have a book for those yet. They're in my purse still and in a little thing. I don't know if you can even find those things anymore. The store cards, I
Oh,
think
yeah.
most people, you'd have to go to Amazon to find something to store cards in. So I just put them in purses. This purse is tourist, this purse is this. Then I have my city business person thing, so. When are elections again?
November.
Well, I know November, but I'm just saying the mayor and all the city things.
Next
April.
April, because I knew it wasn't November, because it's just not. And Paul is moving in the spring, right?
He'll move after the election.
After the election, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be an interesting thing, to be without Paul. I'm gonna miss him so much. He's very good.
He was here
Okay.
last night.
This is going in my file with all of my punch cards.
You know, if you put them in plastic and you save them for maybe 50, 60 years, you might have one like a Mickey Mantle card,
Right.
somebody's business card. You
Manipulation.
could sell it for $12.6 million.
I never met
Unreal.
Mickey.
I just saw that.
I did
Crazy.
meet Stan the Man.
Huh?
Wow.
No, you didn't let me finish. Stan the Man's grandson, who took care of Stan the Man.
Oh.
Stan the Man was a little busy, but his grandson was manning the booth, and I had him sign a hat. I said, "You're a star." He said, "No, I'm not." I said, "You are too. You're on TV all the time, walking with him." I said, "That is a star, that you could take care of him all those years. You should be proud of that fact." And he just looked at me and signed the hat. I bought the hat, but he signed it. He looked at me like, "You're a little nuts." I said, "You just wait and see. Somebody will want that hat."
There you go.
But then I gave it away. So, anyway. I'm gonna go to the antique mall and pass out Art Guild stuff.
Well, tell them to come on by here in the next 45 minutes.
I tried to get my boss to come, but she's like, "Nah, I'm going to the antique mall," where she has a booth.
Man, people have their priorities.
I gotta go to this place. I've been in it. I was driving by regularly watching them work on it.
Even
just
if you
to-
don't like antiques.
It's the place to go. There's
it's very-
information to be had there.
He did a lot of nice work on the inside, and it does have some crafts and some
Art.
art also.
Yeah.
It's a multi-thing, and then if you listen to Clem, they would level that parking of storage of RVs and put a flat room in there and have a whole nother wing. And I was like, "Clem, that sounds like a lot of cement to fill that in."
Clem has a lot of antiques.
He does. And he has a lot of different tags. from Antiques. So,
He lost a lot down there in St. Mary.
so did we.
Yeah.
2 cases and 5 booths, 7.
Yeah.
I waded through that mall after the tornado. Not a fun endeavor.
Yeah.
Trust me, you didn't wear open toes in a dress, because
I'll
it was
bet.
gross. There was, still gives me flashbacky nightmares thinking of walking through that mall and being so thankful to God I was not in the mall when it hit.
That it was open, yeah.
Ugh. If that mall had been open, it would have been catastrophe, even worse than it already was. And I'm so happy. Do you do St. Mary?
We work with them. We haven't done a lot with them recently, but they're one of our communities. Yeah.
Yeah. They need a round table, but I don't know that they have a nice round table like this. But St. Mary could use a help too. Okay, I'll put my pen away. I carry my own pen so I don't have to touch somebody else's. And I will see you all around, and hopefully you'll get some more people, but I didn't see much activity on Facebook around the post.
Well, like I say, we don't expect our only public involvement to come from this. There'll be
Yeah.
a survey that goes out to everyone.
And if you do a thing at Progress Sports Complex like they did for the sand thing, you'll get a lot of people, because everybody has an opinion and they all came out for that. So I think you could get a lot of opinions if this thing went around on Facebook like that did. There's a lot more pressing issues with that.
Mhm.
A lot more heart-tugging issues.
Yeah.
So, but anyway. Okay, well, good to see you here.
I'm glad you came by.
Well, I wasn't gonna miss it. I saw it and I thought, I'm not gonna tug Mike's ear if I can just go in and do it in person. Just do it myself.
Anytime,
Okay.
anytime.
Okay, you guys got good pens. Ones nobody wants to steal. I only take pens that advertise something, and that's not advertising anybody but Vic. So, advertising pens are always nice to pick up. Thank you much, guys.
Thanks, Gina.
Gina.
Where is this antique mall?
Front Street, that's, there's an old industrial building there that has been bought and started to repurpose it.
Go past the Welcome Center.
Yeah,
Over the
yeah.
tracks.
Through the
Oh,
woods.
okay.
Yeah. It depends on what generation of people you talk to, of what was in that building before,
Oh,
what
yeah,
they
yeah.
call it.
This is true. Called the Kisco Building.
I remember going down there on that New Year's when Greg had his stuff in there, and it was flooding and wasn't much money
Oh,
there. That was like 2016,
I think you're right. Yeah.
somewhere around there. It was right around the New Year, so I don't know which.
Yes.
That was a mess too.
But yeah, Front Street hasn't seen this much traffic in, I bet, 20 years.
Yeah.
Since Jura Fat. Every Jura Fat, that's about it.
Every year fat, but this is a lot more consistent.
Yeah. There was 3 weeks of articles in the newspaper talking about the building. Just, had old pictures and can you identify these people and do you remember what else was in this building? I mean, it just kind of kept running.
Mm-hmm.
And, people like their history.
Yeah.
So what's the timeline with the study? Like, when do you expect to have a survey and all that kind of stuff?
The survey will be probably just another month or two, and we'll have that together and ready to go and out. We've got surveys from other projects that we've done and other comp plans that we've done that we'll pull some of those from, but I don't know. I like to be careful with surveys because you need to be. You can't approach it with the idea that everybody knows what you're talking about, because when you talk about economic development, I know what that means for me, but, you know, she might have a different idea, you know.
Sure.
So I like to be careful in wording it so that we're clear about, try to get everybody on the same page without leading people to, you know,
Yeah.
specific answers, so.
Well, and you get a hot topic for the moment kind of scenario.
Mhm.
Where comprehensive plan is supposed to be a 10, 15, 20, 25-year plan, whatever. And you bring a subject that's really at the forefront right now, but doesn't really have bearing, maybe you gotta kind of weed that part of it out.
But the survey will be out. We'll have that ready in, like I say, probably a month or two. We've
Had
had,
a year and a half process to get it completed.
yeah, the whole thing is, I don't even remember now. I think it was a year, 18 months.
But you got staffing.
Yeah, we've had some staff turnover now with a guy who was gonna be helping me out with the development of it, so that's probably gonna push it back now.
Originally, we were looking at July, August next year, and that's gonna get pushed back a little bit.
Yeah, December.
By the end of next year.
Yeah, we're like everybody else, trying to keep staff. So,
Yeah, back-to-back sessions though with some common themes, common thread between both, I mean, stormwater, and
yep.
housing,
Sidewalk.
I was surprised by her comments with sidewalks, but yeah.
She talked more about the trail piece of it. I mean, that goes out to the county. She was
Yeah.
talking about a loop.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah.
And you have to assume she wasn't present last night and probably didn't connect with anybody who gave her an account of last night, but still the same things came up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, pretty valuable today.
Yeah. And
Well,
that's,
I think just since COVID, that resurgence of outdoor recreation has really
yeah.
picked up.
Yep.
Because people were forced to do something different than maybe their norm.
Right.
Turns out some people like doing it.
Yeah.
And they actually did it.
Yeah. It's not as bad as I thought it was.
I mean, the golf course has seen a crazy insurgence
That's good.
just since that. Just 'cause whether it was people having more time or trying to do something else that was just outdoors.
Yeah.
Pre-pandemic, you wouldn't think like, oh, something may happen to make the golf course an essential business, but it makes sense,
Mhm.
know?
Yeah, I sat on that board for a lot of years, and financially they're in a better position than they've been in a long time. Due in part because of just, I wouldn't say that it was the Tiger Woods rush of when Tiger Woods came to golf and people really poured to the game, but it was certainly something similar to it.
Well, it shows it's a great place to play and good place to hang out. And very fortunate to have that in our community.
And our schools have really taken advantage of it. Both the boys and the girls have
The girls have a huge team.
a lot of kids on it.
Large team this year.
Yeah, we were finishing up the chamber tournament and coming up towards hole number 1, and I was like, what are all these people? And then I realized as we got around there that it was 3:30 and the girls golf team had just showed up for practice. There has to be 12 girls probably, maybe more.
Yeah, I want to say more.
Yeah, it's
And
a big.
you're used to, the girls' golf program is only, 5 or 6 years old. But, it was easily, 4, 5, 6 girls normally, so this is 2 to 3 times that.
Yeah. It's awesome. Well, I don't really have any other input. I'll definitely do the survey when the survey comes through. That'll be
Share it
good.
out with your folks too, if you get a chance.
Yeah, and if we do, I would assume some sort of a Survey Monkey one where it's online, that's something that we as a community center would be happy to share.
And we'll also do some paper copies and, figure we'll probably leave some there
Yeah.
at the community center as well.
Community center and library for sure. That'll get your good foot traffic numbers.
Did I see roofing starting today?
Today, yeah. There's a crane there, they're starting on the library section. It's a long process. Be the roof first, and then the indoor pool will be next. Hopefully, we can make it to next summer for that one. We're just at that age, you know, the building's at that age where stuff has to happen.
Yeah.
You know, we've been lucky with the parking lot and with the additions that we've done, being able to add additional parking here and there, and it's kind of alleviated and overlaid some of the original stuff, but yeah, almost 23 years.
They asked me about the playground equipment. Is there some repairs being done over there? I can't remember what the question was, I apologize, but nothing that needs to be repaired?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I don't know what the life expectancy is on that, those tiles, that soft surface that we use, because it was relatively new product when we put it down, and gosh, that's probably been almost 5 years now. But I don't know how long that kind of stuff lasts. But the equipment itself, other than, you know, bearings and moving parts, should be there for a long time.
That's
And the
good.
shades, kind of the same way. Those shades, we take them down in the winter time to really help last longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10, 15 years, I would think, on those. As long as we take care of them, seal them up when we do take them down, so we don't go to pull it out in the spring and a mouse ate all the way, you know, like crazy like that. But yeah, no, it's a lot of the same things that other people have said in here.
Yeah.
How can we make what we have nicer and make more of it? The rooftop thing, I think, for me is number one to help. Just for you don't have a lot of ways that you can increase the amount of money that you guys collect as a city.
That's it, yep.
And nothing you're going to do from this point forward is going to cost less than it did yesterday.
Yep.
So if you
That's
can
it.
increase that, the money has to come from somewhere.
That's it.
Plus, I think of the human capital, right? We need more firemen, we need more volunteers, we need more, you know, insert whatever you want there, employees. So the more houses, not only is it benefit from tax base, but it's benefit for, hopefully there will be more
Sure.
volunteer firemen, more people to join Lions Foundation, you know, all these other organizations that are stretched thin and looking for volunteers.
Yeah.
And employees, because we definitely heard that.
I would have never guessed, if you would have asked me 5 years ago before we started to talk about the water park and do the water park, that my biggest challenge would be having enough people to work it.
Yeah.
Would have never guessed that. I mean, maybe as you go down the line, it starts to fall in there, middle of your top 10 challenges, but it's absolutely number one. I mean, it even surpassed the challenges we had getting like product and material and stuff when everything was short in the last couple of years. We were lucky that chemicals and chlorine and acid and that kind of stuff never got crazy, and the price never really just went insane. But being able to get food and stuff, drinks, that kind of things, there were challenges in that, but still. You have to turn people away at your front gate because you don't have enough workers to work the inside. I mean, that's...
The water park down in Cape, there were days when they
Yeah, I saw that a couple
didn't
Mondays
open
ago.
or yeah, they closed, I think they were supposed to be open until Labor Day, and they're not,
Yeah.
you know, they've,
Once the high school opened, they
they
didn't try this past weekend,
Yep.
or they're not trying this weekend.
they just,
Oh,
And
they're
they
not
had
even
even,
doing weekends.
no, and then they even shortened their hours leading up to that a little bit, I think. But when we went out to Farmington a couple weeks ago to talk with some of their guys about the pool project they had done, he said the exact same thing. He's like, you know, we're gonna try to get there, but we don't know.
Do you guys ever meet, or does anybody drill down and try to find root cause, like it's a wage issue, or it's a motivation issue, or it's a...
You know, the number one, because that's always the question I ask, because it's amazing when a 15, 16, you know, up to even a 20-year-old kid quits now. They don't really quit, they just don't come.
Yeah.
Right, they don't really tell anybody,
For sure.
they just stop. But we still, to have that conversation, the number one thing that in the past 2 years at least that I've found is customers, like just dealing with people.
Yeah.
Because, and I don't know that if it's a COVID thing or it's just how everybody's rewired themselves, but like the entitlement factor, so high. And, you know, they only want to stand there so long getting yelled at by somebody else, you know, for enforcing rules that they have to enforce for what we all understand as safety, and the people just don't see it like that. These kids, they only want to get yelled at so many times. They're like, you know what? I don't care what you pay me.
It's not worth it to me.
I'm not coming back to do this.
It's definitely a generational thing, because I think about when we were kids, I mean, it's a long stretch between me and some of you guys, but when you were going to turn 16, remember how it felt to be able to get a driver's license? And that does not exist with this generation.
Oh yeah, we have 18-year-old kids that don't have a license. No
Don't
desire to
even
get
care,
one.
yeah. I mean, I don't know what that's indicative of, but something, a change, maybe not bad, but some adjustment that we need to make,
Yeah,
that we don't know how to make that adjustment yet.
but I also notice our employee parking lot, which is, you know, 90% of those kids, it's almost all new cars sitting out there.
Right.
You know, it's not the 1988 Cavalier that I
Yep.
drove in 2000,
Yep.
right? You know, it was
Unheard of
old.
when we were kids, yeah.
So, but I don't know, it is a weird shit, because we increased, I mean, minimum wage increased wages 10%, but we increased our wages 20 to 25% for some positions. And they were all appreciative, yeah, this is great, but
Yeah.
I don't know that it got us more people or got them to work any longer.
It may be a big lie, but I like to think as a parent that one of the root causes is that I'm a victim of my success. Like we
100%.
did better for our kids than what had been done for us.
Yeah,
And then now,
which as a parent, that's 100% my goal.
it's absolutely
Yeah.
your goal, but then there's a side effect maybe,
Uh-huh.
you know, like, hey, I'm not gonna go,
Yeah.
I'm gonna, what do they, I think there's a term for it, don't they call it quiet quitting? Like,
Yes.
you just, quit trying, quit involving yourself in
Absolute
it.
bare minimum, and then
Yep.
at some point, you're not present.
Somebody will text you and say, hey, coming in today, and when you finally get the guts to return that, you know,
Yeah.
nope, not coming in.
Right. And it's even at the point now where it's like, look, I know you haven't shown up the last 3 times, but we desperately need you this time.
Yeah,
We'll forget about that.
yeah.
If you show up this
Yeah,
time.
there's no disciplinary anything.
Yeah. But I mean, in terms of like referrals, like we gave money if you referred employees, if you got them hired, then you got extra if they made it to the end of the
Wow.
season.
Yeah.
So like now you get your best friend a job there, we'll give you some money up front. If you convince your best friend to stay till the end of the season, we'll give you more money. But if that person bails on you, essentially we're saying they cost you this money, you know? And
Peer pressure.
we did hour incentives, so when you would reach a certain number of hours worked, we would bump your hourly wage. And if you reached a certain number, then we would give you another sort of referral amount at the end of the season. Just trying to be creative with things to try to get kids, because realistically, someone could come lifeguard and make $4,000, $5,000 in a summer if they worked their whole summer. I mean, I would have done that in a heartbeat when I was 15,
Yeah.
16 years old. I was throwing hay bales for 10 cents a bale. Like, you kidding me? I could stand back here and work at the water park and do
Yeah.
that, like, in a heartbeat.
Yep.
And we give them another increase if they come back. For every season they come back, they get, you know, there's a base amount and they get bumps on top of that. So we have some people that, we had 2 people that have worked every year so far. They started in 19 and they've been here, been there for every season so far. But, yeah, I don't know, I never would have guessed. Trying to find 100 kids. And I say kids, obviously we would take anyone, but I always looked at it as being it's a summertime gig. Like
Yeah.
You're gonna do this for 80 to 90 days and forget about it then for 9 months and then maybe try to do it again the next summer.
And if you dial it back to when we were kids, you're absolutely all over that opportunity. Like, I'm gonna bank a lot of cash, I'm gonna turn 16, I'm gonna have money in my pocket, I'm gonna buy a car.
Yeah.
gonna progress and do all these things, and I think even no pandemic, I think this wave was gonna happen.
Yep.
It's just a generational difference between us and,
There were too many employees leaving and not enough entering the workforce. That was happening no matter
Yeah.
what. I think COVID accelerated it and increased it, because
Yeah.
people who were 62, who were planning to work till they were 70, were like, screw this.
yeah.
I mean, we had that first year, we had someone, she lifeguarded for us, worked a lot, worked a ton that summer. She was a senior going into her freshman year of college, and at the end of the summer, she came and said, you know, thank you for the opportunity. Like, I've worked enough this summer that now I can do my first semester of college and not have to work. I don't even have to think
Yeah,
about it.
that's
Like, my
awesome.
parents told me, you know what, you've made this money, like, we're not gonna tell you you have to get a job this first semester, like, get comfortable with what you're doing. So like, man, if I can, doing that for one kid was enough for me to like say, hey, this was worth this endeavor. But man, how many other ones could go into that same scenario?
Yeah, the same mindset.
Yeah.
We, when we were doing Perryville sidewalks earlier this year, we hired an intern. She was in college down there at SEMA. And it was only going to be we were getting close to the end of the project, but we needed to get the field work wrapped up. So I don't even know if it was going to be 2 weeks. I mean, I think it was, because she needed like a 2-week internship to finish out her program or something. So, and she made it one day. She came in, I mean, it was all out walking sidewalks, you know, and GPS and locations, but, you know, it's not grueling or anything. You walk the block, you get in the car, you drive down the next, you walk the block, and she made it one day. She just wasn't coming back. It's like, no, I won't be back tomorrow. And I'm like, oh. Okay. I mean, it was, you know, it was paid. It wasn't even like, you know, you know, it's an unpaid internship. I mean, we weren't paying a ton, but, you know, I think it was $15 an hour or something.
Yeah.
Nah, she wasn't interested. Okay.
Yeah, I've had lifeguards, as they rotate through a rotation, when they get to their break, they don't come to the break room, they just walk straight to their car. I'm like,
Oh, wow.
they're just out. They're just out. Don't tell anybody. They just, I'm out. And they would show up the next day sometimes, and the day after that. No, we were in a position where you want to set the example, be like, we can't have that,
Yeah.
but at some point, we start cutting all these people for what justifiably they should be gone for, and now we don't have anything.
Yeah.
So now what have we accomplished?
Yeah.
Yes, we taught the lesson, but we have no money.
Right.
We have a finite number of days when we have to make money, so it's like, but it's like you know, all the times that we've had conversations, I've sat down with some of the folks from downtown talking about tourism, all that kind of stuff. I don't know what can be done, but we're 90% probably out of town people at the water park. I would say that's probably a safe number. I don't know how you take those people and capture them and then get them to make rights coming off of Progress instead of lefts back to the interstate. Get them to come to the downtown, you know.
Is there any way to measure, like, you guys are running an ad on, I don't know if it's only on streaming service though. I don't know if anybody's got traditional television or whatever, but I'm using like DirecTV Stream. And occasionally I see the water park pop up with an ad. Is there any way to know how effective that has been?
We'll get the statistics at the end of the season to show essentially where it's been broadcast to and who's seen it, and then followed back to it. Like however they do that magical data stuff where they can use, you know, that IP that streams that service, and then it shows that they ended up going to it. Yeah, we get a lot of that, but when we started with that, I thought our drawing card was going to be here, right? Whether that's 25 miles or 30 miles, it's much larger than we had anticipated.
It's a really cool ad.
Yeah,
I did a double take. I was like, oh, that looks like a cool place to go. It's like, yeah, you can go there on your lunch hour. It's right there.
Yeah,
You know,
and like,
you could walk to it.
so like WeatherBug, weather.com, a lot of those weather sites, we have banner ads on those.
Yeah.
Because people come from out of town, they want to know what the 10-day forecast, which day am I going to go to the water park? Or, you know, maybe they're thinking about doing some other activity outside, and as they're looking at that forecast, boom, there's the water park ad.
It would be interesting if any of us knew the interim tourism guy, and we could emulate what you've done with the water park with X in the town.
Hey, who's your advertising agent?
Well, I would say we outsource that. We certainly outsource the digital portion of it.
I said that, but when push came to shove, it wasn't worth trying to pitch that at the last meeting we had, for sure.
No, it's too technical of work, and the people that do it have mastered it, and it's ever changing.
Yeah.
There's no way I or anyone on my staff could do the digital stuff that they do. Like,
And there's no need to.
No, we can spend, I don't know my number offhand, but $15,000 to $20,000 advertising the water park digitally in a year and bring 60,000 people to our water park.
Yeah.
Now, whether they came because of that, it's really hard to determine that, but I can certainly use that data, and it can tell me, here's where people are coming from. So when I start to do stuff in print and different things like that, or hit radio markets, I know where to go.
If you start doing traditional, you know where those markets are that you want to reach.
Yes, like we started for the first time doing online ticket sales this year. We had never sold anything online before, so we have online ticket sales. Well, the thing with the online ticket sales is I can get the zip code of every person that bought one.
That's what I was gonna
Wow.
ask you.
So-
Do you have any route to collect those
Yeah,
zip
so like
codes?
with our online sales, we got that zip code. So now I can see where these people are buying all this from. And like that'll help us for planning next year when we sit down with our digital marketing firm and say, look, here's where we know we're getting people from already. Do we go harder in those markets, or do we try to expand? Because I mean, word of mouth, I talk to a lot of people that are there, and it is absolutely nothing for somebody to travel an hour and a half to come to our water park. I hear it all the time. So in that process, you start looking on the map and thinking, okay, I can drive to there. Well, this one's not that far away, but it takes a long time to get there. That person likely isn't going to do these wine, because when you start going west of here, you start looking at travel. We have a lot of Illinois plates at our place. And so then the question becomes, well, did you come over at Chester, or are you like a Dupo, Columbia? Did you get across at South County and come down the interstate? Yeah. And it's a crazy mix. Like we do the Carbondale, Murfreesboro market and stuff, like way more than I really thought we would. Yeah, I don't know. It's people from Tennessee.
Well, I think we get locked in discussions and into either or, black or white, either tourism director or outsource. And this discussion just makes me wonder, if you hired a director, could he incorporate that into his program? Like, hey, I'm going to be your director and I'm going to control traffic, but I'm going to outsource this piece, because why do that?
You would get someone so bogged down into the technicalities of it that I don't know when they would have time to do anything.
When there's already a firm with efficiencies doing it today, already up and running 100 miles an hour doing it.
Because that's the thing, when I think about city tourism, that's the thing, that's a large scope, right? It's St. Genevieve, it's not, and I mean it with no disrespect to the shops, but it's not that individual shop here or that shop over there. Like you're marketing a whole, right? And yes, you can incorporate some of the things that you have in little pieces into that whole, but you have to be able to do it as a whole, and you have to do it every day of the year.
Yep.
I'm lucky. We only got, I mean, we do advertise it longer than our season, but it's still a seasonal thing. So, come next Tuesday, I'm not going to think about the water park for a little while after we have a little deconstruction meeting. We talk about like, what are the things we did right? What are the things we need to look for? What do I need to budget for? Beyond that, there's going to be months where it's not on the forefront, right? As a tourism director of this city, it's every day.
Every day.
It's every day.
And I mean, we could all figure out a way to mill our own 2x4s for that room addition that we're going to do, or a basement remodel. But why am I going to mill my own 2x4s when there's a whole building, a whole group of people that do it every day?
Yeah.
They're in stacks, waiting for me to go pick them up, you know?
I understand the arguments, and especially even hearing the people say it the other night, like, I understand both sides of it, and I don't think that there's one way that it needs to be done. But I think that there's absolutely a way that you can do a combination of some things
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make it work. Not my decision, though.
There you go. Yeah, we got a guy doing it now, so.
I know a guy.
And he doesn't have anything else to do.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I
There's no
just-
squeaky wheel to pay attention to at this point, so.
Yeah, but I do think, and when you, it's obviously, it's all dollars and cents, right? Like you have a certain number of money you can spend. But I don't think that there's a firm that does it professionally out there that if you went to and said, I know that you say it takes this to do X, Y, Z. Here's what we got.
Right.
What can we do?
Right.
I mean, I think that's where.
Let's maximize
Yeah.
this and prove to me this is what works.
Sure.
And then we'll look at expanding it.
Yeah. I think that has to be the starting point.
Yeah.
We can definitely work. But that's the thing. If someone's not doing it, there's nobody picking up the slack, right? Like there's nobody else out there doing it. People are doing it on an individual basis, but it's got to be done as a whole, I feel.
It would be more effective that way.
Yeah.
Well, you want branding, you want that feel of the community consistent through all of your spaces. So, and because we've been switching so much, we've been unable to do that. And that's what worried me when it's like, well, this is the opportune time to say, so how do you want to see this? What do you see this moving into the future? Yes, we have obligations, but the obligation is to advertise the city, and how do we do that most effectively?
Yeah.
Like me as a water park or community center, I don't feel like I have any obligation from the city that says you guys need to go out and advertise for me. As a whole, would I like a picture of my facility included somewhere in this is the cool things you can do in this community? Yeah, I think there'd be justification for that, but we have our own business. We have to advertise our own business.
Right.
I think that's the part where there's a differing of opinions.
Well, you're seeing data though that supports that synergy, meaning if the city chose to purposely not promote the water park, it's at our own detriment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can only gain by doing that.
Right.
So, and there's a lot of that city-county conversation that happens. You know, like that's not us, that's the city, or that's the county. It's like, we're stronger together,
Mm-hmm.
city and county, if we go and take that approach.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, even Brad alluding to the fact that 90% of his customers are from out of town.
yep.
I mean, obviously, I would think the majority come here for the day to go to the water park, but that doesn't mean they're not going to turn around the next weekend and come to the museum or, whatever. Just need to get that information into
Yep.
their hands.
Well, I've even heard that from the museum people. They said, especially this year, now that they've been open with extended hours, they're like, we literally have people that when they're getting ready to leave the museum, go use our bathroom and they walk out wearing their swimming suits. Like they came here to do that and then to do ours.
Because you have a shared demographic right there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But they're like, yeah, we laughed the first time we saw it, like this family like goes to use the bathroom and they come out and they're all wearing different clothes and it turns out they have their swimming suits on. They're like, well, I think we know where you're going. But yeah, I mean, there are two things that work hand in hand.
That's great.
And the good part about that is that's getting people into the downtown area.
Right.
And just talking to Mauricio at the restaurant there when he put Elsa on him, I mean, he's doing well, and he's like, I can't help but say that part of the attribution of that has to be the place right there where people are smelling and seeing my business as they're there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure in time Ryan's going to see the same thing with the custard place.
Right, and that's the thing, if they come for a day at your place or a museum, or wherever, and they're gonna eat somewhere, they're gonna get some gas, especially if they're an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
And that's the whole goal.
Right. This weekend we have a big Labor Day ball tournament this weekend on Challenger Field. They're Friday night, they're all day Saturday, all day Sunday. I don't know that if there's a single local team playing it. You know, the guy that's organizing
Wow.
it, he's coming out of St. Louis. He's got people coming from Kansas City. Like, they're coming from all over. But they're gonna see our park. They're gonna see that custard place. They're gonna see El San. They're gonna type in restaurants, and they're gonna see all the quick ones. Obviously, they're probably gonna see Dairy Queen when they get off the highway, but
Right.
yeah, it's capturing those people.
But still, I mean, if they open up that app, you may see all the ones that are downtown too. It's like, what do you guys feel like? You know, okay, I want pizza. All right, let's go.
Right.
Go to Ciro's.
Yeah, we certainly have some opportunities there. But I think in terms of the tourism, to put it all on one person, it's a tall task.
And there's multiple legs of this to look at too, because, you know, you've got the Welcome Center, and how do we see that working in the future? How is that supposed to function? Then you have a tourism director that's over the advertising and the coordinating of all of this. And then you've got the advertising budget, which is, you know, we work with the state and work up a plan of where we're gonna put our advertising, and they help pay for a portion of it. And then we have other monies that we can spend for other advertising that comes up as need be.
Yeah.
So that's what that person has to look at, but, you know, would it be better if, and I know, you know, the talk is to keep the DMO. My thought was, take $60,000 and put that into advertising. You can then, you know, extend that reach and do that more. Are you utilizing that money better than just having a person to oversee it? But is there the issue then that you don't have that contact in town that will be the face of the city/tourism bureau? And I think that's what a lot of people are scared of, is they want to have somebody to talk to directly. You know, you're not talking to an advertising agency, or going through the city where you're trying to coordinate it. They want that person, because they want to be able to plead their case as to why they're, you know, why we need tourism, and they want to be that, you know, be able to have that person to talk to and say, this is why my place is important.
Sure.
Well, hopefully that working group that is homegrown from, you know, grassroots level, they connect to TTC, am I saying that right?
TTC and TAC. So we're planning a meeting on the 20th. Yeah, September 20th.
I mean, a direct line between the people that spoke on that Thursday evening to that group is, I think, the most effective way. And then almost when you hear the word director in somebody's title, you almost expect like, oh, this person, he or she delegates to several people, but in this case it would be several functions. It would be, hey, I'm the director of tourism, but I oversee, I'm a QAE, I'm a quality assurance evaluator for the advertising firm, and I'm making sure that we have a deliverable. Like, I don't care how you produce the screenshot of whatever you're doing. I care about what are the metrics that you can tell me of why we're doing this.
Right.
And then you have, hey, I delegate to somebody who schedules, a volunteer who schedules the Welcome Center staff or whatever, and you have one person that kind of does all that. But I hear myself say it, it's like the price tag for that person gets higher every time.
I don't know who said it, but that's the unicorn that was.
That's the unicorn, that's right.
That's
right.
the challenge of.
That's right.
How do you find that person that more times than not, you say person that they talk to, I hear person that they complain to.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a challenge in that, you know, as an employee, when you know you can't please them, but you have to hear them, that's hard. It's hard to do.
Well, you take it steps further, like you can't, maybe you can't affect change to help them, but you have to hear them, recognize them, and then are they saying something that's valid? And then you validate that, and then you have to form a path to take some action that maybe you can't. Yeah, I think looking straight at somebody and saying, hey, I know what you're asking for, and I think it's valid, but I can't do that. I think that's valuable as well.
But I think that's, you know, getting down to that, just what you said. That's one of the issues is, as the group, as those that we're trying to benefit, you've got to help that person not be an impedance, and then be on that person for everything that they do. You've got to help them.
Yeah.
You can't expect them to do it all.
Right.
And then get mad about it.
Right.
When we can't do it all, because we can't do it all. I'm trying to get that out there. We just can't do everything we've been trying to do. We've been doing so much, and then it'll never be enough. But we were fighting two fronts on some issues where we're trying to do this for the city, but we're fighting it over here with people in the city. It's like, then we're not going to be in the middle of it. But we're done with that. So now we're going to have to reset. And how do we reset? And make it work?
Yeah, because you're also talking about efforts that translate into somebody's bottom line, like an individual's bottom line on their balance sheet, like you can't be.
I'm not responsible for
that.
their bottom line.
Right.
I'm responsible for getting people to the city, whether it's to, we have something on there that attracts them to the water park, great, there they go. But I'm not advertising the water park, I'm advertising, come to St. Genevieve.
Right.
Come to St. Genevieve County, however you want to look at it. Come to the wineries. They've got a big draw. Come to downtown, it's got the historic. We have so much, but just get here. And where you go is up to that person to get them there. That's their job as the shop owner, as the business owner, as the nonprofit. We just need to get them in town. That's what we want. We want to pique their interest and say, let's go there this weekend.
Yeah. There's a lot of reasons to do it. I mean, if you're from outside the community and you're looking for something, you can probably find it here.
I always tell people that say nothing ever happens in our town, I said, you're just not looking in the right spot. You gotta want a little bit to get.
Yeah.
All right, 12 o'clock.
Well, don't shut it down prematurely. We might have a rush.
They're looking for a parking spot out there.
Yeah. Who knows what's going on out
I
there?
ran everybody off early last night.
You did, yes.
I'll put my name on the sign just so I can get the emails. And it looks like another person